Yeah.
What are your thoughts as you go to bed tonight ahead of the second semi-final?
Well, you still have to beat the world champion if you're England. And I said earlier, playing well. I was meaning that they're doing well.
Yeah.
Not ultimately playing well, England, but it doesn't matter. There is no rift. You're in the semi-final, and if you have to win the World Cup with mentality and only grit, so be it. And people are happy. Like I said to you, people can relate to that team, but you're playing the world champion with a special guy in it that can do wonders. Having said that, Julian Alvarez appeared, Enzo Fernandez appeared. So be careful. It's going to be a tough one, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow and see how you're going to be watching the game.
Oh, gentlemen, if you can ask the horse if there's room for us, and we'll all get on your horse with you, Zlatan, and head to Atlanta, Georgia for the second semi-final.
What sort of game do you think it will be?
I think it's going to be the game that everybody expects it to be. It's going to be a tough game. It's a real rivalry, a deep rivalry. Goes back 66, and it's the kind of game that we know that whether we're in front or behind, there's going to be chaos in the game. There's going to be chaos in the stands. They're not separating the fans. And it's a game that we're going to have to show a lot of composure. It's a country that, as time's gone by, I've learned a lot about them. I have no love for them. Obviously, Maradona's somebody that's done some amazing things that I've seen, but it's a team that we have to beat, and it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a real tough one. A real attritional war we're going into, and we have to recognise that. I've heard Thomas Tuchel saying it's just the game. It's not just the game. And they'll realise it's not just the game. It's going to be more than that when they're playing.
They haven't played particularly fluently, have they, Argentina? We did the Cape Verde game. Obviously, the other day against Switzerland, equaliser on top, really, without a man sent off. But they don't know when they're beaten, Gary. They've shown that every single time.
Similar to us. Look, they've got an incredible energy about them. And I say this in a positive sense, a horribleness that is very difficult to get past. We're going to have to suffer tomorrow in that football match. I do think we've got a manager and a captain there that you've just seen speaking, who belong in these types of games, who've got great experience and won't let it affect them. They've got to deal with the presence and the aura of Messi. You're out there on the pitch with that guy just wandering around, knowing that he can sort of come to life at any minute. So there's a lot of things to contend with. But I think we can win. I do think we can win. And look, it's going to be a real struggle.
Let's go to neutral corner. What do you think, Roy?
I think it'll be obviously an amazing game. I think both teams, particularly for England, you definitely have to bring your quality. You have to play on the edge. You have to keep your discipline. You have to bring physicality. When you hit people, you hit them.
You hit them hard.
And show your quality.
They're quite similar teams in that sense.
Of course, and obviously on the other side of it, there'll be a lot of emotions involved for lots of different reasons. So yeah, I think it's set up for a cracker.
Yeah. What do you think, Patrick?
I think it will be an even game. I think what Argentina maybe have a little bit more is this kind of streetwise competitiveness, aggressivity. And I think on the England side, it will be important for them to really keep their calm, their focus, and not go into that kind of battles, I would say, because football-wise, I think they have what it takes to respond.
But England need to be streetwise. Whatever other word you want to use, they need that, don't they?
Well, you say calm, obviously you don't want to do anything silly, but don't be too calm.
Yeah.
It's a game of football, it's emotion, but just play on the edge. Don't do anything too daft.
I think we've got the physicality for them as well. I think we can match them. Obviously, you want to make sure that someone like Jude, because they will probably target someone like Jude, because he's our main guy, so they want to get our main guy out of it. But from a physical point of view, I think we can deal with it.
But he should enjoy that, Righty. He's 6'1", 6'2". If people coming after you, we used to have a couple of battles. Patrick was a good one at kicking me every now and again. But that's a part of the game.
Sure.
Bring that physicality. It's part of the game.
It's a narrow precipice to walk along, to be on the edge, to hit somebody hard, and yet be calm enough not to get sent off.
Yeah, we've got to keep discipline. We've got some examples of that in the last 20, 30 years for England where we've lost discipline and that's cost us. But what I would say is ordinarily before a match, you wouldn't want an open game. I actually think we need an open game. We've got quicker players than them. We've got more speed.
Our width, Gary, our width is important.
We've got better width and we've got higher energy. So let's try and play to our strengths. Make it an open game.
They won't want that, will they?
No, absolutely.
So, I'm just remembering your description of the centre-halves of Argentina. The best, worst centre-halves in the tournament. From England's point of view, they better be the worst ones tomorrow.
It's a compliment because they're capable of winning the match for them, but they do make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers, Jeff. I think they absolutely would end up with a statue. Now, after the Norway game, what made a lot of the headlines, other than the fact that England have made it through to a fourth ever World Cup semi-final, were the post-match interviews between Thomas Tuchel and Jude Bellingham and an ITV reporter, Gabriel Clark. That's been a huge story over the last couple of days. Let's remind you of what was said.
not happy with the performance.
In what sense?
In every sense. Because again, the commitment is there, but we made life very, very difficult for us in the way we played, how we played. Sloppy, a lot of technical mistakes, not fast enough, not repetitive enough. We were lucky today.
People maybe doesn't know what it's like to play in those kind of conditions against Erling Haaland, Odegaard, Nusa, Sorloth. You know, that's not an easy team to play against. Can't speak highly enough of the lads. You're not going to win every game popping the ball and making 1,000 passes. Sometimes you have to win dirty, and we've done that again tonight.
Absolutely, no one disputes that. I'm impressed with the shift that they put in, the effort, team spirit, the belief. The belief and to overcome adversity and to dig in and find ways to win is on the absolutely highest level. They cannot get enough praise for that. But I'm also a football coach, and I think we can play better.
Well, some England fans were concerned, Alexei, there might be a rift in the camp between the best player Jude Bellingham and his head coach Thomas Tuchel, and others were saying, well, it's just the reaction of two winners. Where do you stand on it?
I don't think it's a problem. I actually love it. I think it's important for Tuchel to do something a little different in terms of the way that he reacted and make sure that the players know that they have plenty of work to do and that they can and must get better if they ever hope to have it coming home. And I love the fact that Jude stood up for himself and stood up for teammates. So I don't think the dynamic changes. I still think that they respect each other, even though they disagree with each other, maybe in this instance.
I think it's misinformation, because if Jude would have seen the interview of Tuchel, he would have answered differently, 100%.
Okay, Thierry, your thoughts now, a day or two later?
Nothing has changed for me. If you want to see what I've said, watch it again. We need to talk about the game. That's the most important thing. Like what animosity? There is no animosity in there. There is nothing in there. And I agree with Zlatan. He didn't know how it was phrased to Tuchel. That's about it. I leave it there. There's a game to play that we talked about. 1982, the Falkland War. Sorry, you know that. Hand of God.
Yep.
David Beckham.
Yep.
You guys don't like each other. That's the most important thing. I don't know why people try to divide that camp. That looks actually a camp that's united, and not Chelsea United, but united. Yes, that's very important. But that's what I'm saying. For once, you have a team that looks like have a good spirit, a good mentality. And why are you trying to divide them? Not you, obviously. Yeah. They're playing well in the way that they want to play, fighting, coming back. We'll think about the style later on.
Okay.
England now know who they will face if they beat Argentina in the World Cup semi-final, and they trained for the final time in Kansas City before they set off to Atlanta, and there were plenty of positives to take from their final session. 25 out of the 26 players were on the grass. The only one missing was Jordan Henderson, who broke his arm after the Mexico game. Declan Rice trained and is fit to start tomorrow. Remember, he only played 45 minutes against Norway. He had a sickness bug in the lead up to that game and spent 3 days in bed. Bukayo Saka has been dealing with an Achilles problem, but looked good when he came on against Norway. The Arsenal winger will be looking for a recall ahead of Noni Madueke. Harry Kane didn't have his best game against Norway. He'll be determined to score in his pursuit of the Golden Boot. He's on 6 goals and 2 behind Mbappe and Messi. Jude Bellingham became the first player to score 2 goals in back-to-back World Cup games since Pele. What a tournament Bellingham is having. Will Thomas Tuchel stick with the same back four? Esri Konsa, John Stones, Mark Gay and Nico O'Reilly started last time out. Reece James looked sharp in training. James returned against Norway after recovering from a hamstring injury and is pushing to start against Argentina. Wimbledon is over, but it's a case of new balls, please, at the World Cup. New golden balls for the semi-final and final.
I think we are due to see a real performance from England at this World Cup. We've seen a lot of grit, we've seen a lot of determination, we've seen that their mentality has been right. When their backs have been up against the wall, they've managed to grind out results, but we haven't really seen free-flowing, great football, apart from a few spells in the opening game against Croatia. If they can bring their A game, then I don't want to tempt fate, but I would be pretty confident that we won't be talking about Lionel Messi tomorrow night.
England will come up against a familiar face in Liverpool's Alexis McAllister. He and his teammates have been training in Atlanta. Our reporter Gary Cottrell went along to see them.
We've been lucky enough to see Argentina train here at the Atlanta United FC training ground a little bit earlier, and loads of people were here to see the train. Of course they were, because of all the superstars on view. Cameras 3 or 4 deep, about, I would say, 200 to 300 cameramen, photographers, journalists in there of all nationalities, and some players did some brief interviews as well. And Alexis McAllister came to speak to where we were with the international media. We managed to get a couple of questions and answers in English. And first of all, he was asked whether or not it was actually an extra burden on Argentina, whether they actually had extra pressure on them because they'd been in a semi-final and a final last time in the World Cup, and there was greater expectation.
We don't feel any pressure, to be honest. We understand this is a World Cup, this is a semi-final, and we have the experience of playing a semi-final of a World Cup before, so that hopefully helps. But as I said, it's going to be a tough game because they're a really good team. We really respect them, and we will see today how it goes.